There are 12 states in the U.S. that adhere to the policies of the no-fault car insurance. You may be surprised when a car collides with your own, and when a police officer arrives, you'll be surprised at his declaration that the accident is the fault of no one. I'm sure that will be a bit annoying to you. So what exactly is this? Read on and you'll see how the no-fault auto insurance works, its advantages, disadvantages and more. Basically, this kind of policy limits a driver's ability to file lawsuits against another driver. The policy also states that for their own protection, both drivers must have their own insurance. So what happens if there is an accident involving two drivers? If this happens, then it is declared that the accident is no one's fault. The damages will then be paid for accordingly according to your policy. Actually, this saves a lot of time and will somehow do justice to both drivers. Why? This is because it's a common practice for those who are victims to sue other drivers for more than the damage is worth. However, it's also important that you understand that no single state in the U.S. purely follows the policy of no-fault car insurance. In fact, most states follow a mix of this policy and the liability system. In fact, some states would still allow lawsuits, so it's a smart idea to read up on your state's policy on no-fault auto insurance before applying for one. To make matters short, the no-fault car insurance policy is usually full of loopholes and is not that clear. Lawsuits are still usually allowed and the injured parties are still somehow a bit favored by the law. Also, this kind of policy is a bit expensive as compared to other forms of insurance. It's cliché to say that if you're interested in this policy you should do some thorough research. Sure, that's what people always say, but it is with this policy that research will definitely do a lot of good. You see, you can't really make much use of this policy if you don't live in a state that follows it. In fact, if you do live in a state that follows the no-fault car insurance, chances are you'll still have problems with lawsuits. Anyway, it's a good idea to ask for a lot of quotes before choosing a provider so that you can make the best out of your money. Since asking for quotes can now be easily done online, feel free to exploit that and ask quotes from a lot of providers. From there you can easily compare and contrast the best providers. Of course, before even thinking of asking for quotes, be sure to check your state's laws regarding no-fault auto policy, since each state has a different law. After that, find out more about the requirements so that all you have to do is simply send them. Depending on how well you understand the policy, it can either be a huge advantage or a huge hindrance. There are lots of insurance policies to choose from, and the no-fault policy is one of the most complicated and expensive, as well. It is advisable to learn a lot about this policy before even thinking of applying for it. There are other policies out there that are much easier to understand and less likely to be exploited. Learn more about insurance policies. First, the no-fault auto policy may sound very promising, but it is not very clearly stated as of the moment. The no-fault auto insurance is, indeed, complicated. Learn more about its pros and cons at No-Fault Car Insurance. Share this video and subscribe for more interesting auto insurance tips.